Bro, what? How do I even explain that? Hey everyone, Sparks back with another Goddess Victory Nikke video. Happy New Year to everybody who is in the earlier time zone. Happy New Year's Eve to everybody else. Stay safe, everybody. Party responsibly. Alright, after that PSA, let's get into pulling for Rapi. This is a new era for Nikke. So let's go over here to recruit. And we're going to be doing some testing right after I go for her. I'm going to try and get max limit break, and I'm not afraid to go into these gold tickets because she is the lower pilgrim rates. We do have things coming up, so keep that in mind. I mean, we got Black Shadow Scarlet, which is also an option here to pull for. If you missed her, she's still extremely strong. Go for her. You want to get at least one copy of her, potentially more. We also have Ava Part 2 coming up. Got the Step Up banner. Of course, that's like a different thing. I wouldn't worry too much about this as far as priorities go. And then after Ava 2, at some point in the future, we have Stellar Blade coming. So lots of things coming down the pipeline. Just keep that in mind. But today is all about Rapi, and I think she's really going to set the precedent for the new era of Nikke and that next level of power. But okay, we're going to be doing testing after this. Like I said, we'll see if it's worth it to do more than one copy of her or not, what some best team comps are, what some good builds for her are, or maybe she just turns out to brick, which I'm sure she doesn't. But let's go ahead and get this going. All right, first pull. I have a lot of resources saved up, so I think we are good to go. I'm going to keep pulling basically until I run out. All right, first one was not a hit. That's okay. But yeah, I'm just going to keep, saving the gold tickets until I have to use them. Although, honestly, I feel like using gold tickets on the lower rarity character does make a lot of sense, but I'm hedging for the limited collaboration characters, so that's why. But honestly, if we were really just trying to maximize the resources, I think using the gold tickets on the lower rate character makes sense, and then you pull more on the other banners. Change to orange? No. Alright, we got the red light in the background to hopefully entice our girl, as is tradition. Matching lights for whatever it is we're trying to pull for. Pull number 3. Show me an SSR. Give me that first overdrive or kind of pilgrim unit. Ooh, there we go. Alright. Gold spark. Can we get her on the first try? First gold spark. Show me Elysian. Wait, is it an Elysian logo or an overspec logo? Wait, let me see. What is this? Missless. Alright, well, it doesn't even matter. Alright. Let's see what we got. Okay, Flora. That's actually a huge W. Flora isn't exactly anything to get excited about, but she is a brand new Nikke for me. And that means I now have every single unit in the game, including all limited seasonal and collaboration characters. So that's a big W. I will take it. Nice. Okay. Let's keep going. All right, we're now going into gems. I did pick up Mika on the last banners that we had. I did 2 pulls for her and got her. She would have been the other one that I was missing before that. Another miss. All right, here we go. First all gem pull. Yes, 3,000 gems. Like, I really wanted to make sure that I was ready for this. Do you want to spend 3,000 gems to possibly get the best character in the game? Allegedly. We hope so anyway. Pretty sure she's going to be pretty much the best character in the game. As you'll see from testing later on, I'm sure, we'll verify all this. But I feel like just the fact that she can be either a burst 1 or a burst 3, and is also strong against, wind and electric allies is just like a massive power bump. It's going to keep her relevant for a long time. Okay, this is not going super well. I mean, getting Flora, like I said, was a big W, but I would hope we get another SSR. Can we get it this time? Change? No. Okay. My luck had to run out at some point. I shouldn't have told the game that I was going to go for max limit break, no matter what. Now it knows. It's got me. It's like, we don't have to give you good units. We've already entrapped you. You're committed. Change. Still, this cold is kind of clearing up, so if I sound a little bit stuffy, That's why. I feel good. I felt good yesterday even. And the day before, honestly, was pretty well. But it takes a while for that congestion to just completely clear up, you know? Oof, this is rough, guys. Okay, maybe we mix it up. Let's take a step back. Let's do a blue ticket poll. How about that? Let's check out the wish list here really quick. Although maybe I save this because Rapi could go on the wish list. Does it matter though? I think let's just do it. Do I want somebody on here other than Flora? I do want to try and get max limit break characters. But maybe, yeah, you know what? Let's leave Flora on there. Okay, so let's just do it. Here we go. Maybe we finally get max limit break Snow White now that she's completely irrelevant to top tier teams. Let's go. Come on. Orange Spark. Oof. All right. Well, we got another purple Spark out of the way, so we can go back to the Rapi banner, I guess. Okay. Come on, Rapi. Don't leave me out here in the cold. Please say hello. Okay, finally our second gold spark after, I don't know, like 8 or 9 pulls. It's a single, she's towards the end there. Let me know how your pulls went in the comments. It's a pilgrim. Okay, maybe this is Snow White. Crown. I mean, I can't complain about a crown. I think that takes me to core 2 crown, I want to say. That's a W. Let's go check out our girls real quick here. Oh, that'll take me to core 3 crown, actually. Okay. All right. Back to recruit. We're not going to take the time to upgrade yet. So far, Flora and crown. But yeah, let me know if you picked up anything really good along the way. And how quickly you got Rapi. I'm hoping to see a lot of one-taps in the comments. Ooh, there we go. 2 in a row. Can we get a double or a triple? Is that getting too greedy? I guess it was. Okay. Pilgrim again! 2 pilgrims in a row! Okay, luck is turning around. And a Rapunzel! Alright, I'll take it. Hey, Rapunzel is solid. You know, that's going to make her healing just that little bit more effective. It's going to push up my CP in Arena. If anyone cares at all about Arena, not me. Okay, let's do this again. Rapunzel was my original Pilgrim, by the way, the first one that I ever got. And actually one of my first SSRs. I want to say like first 5 or so SSRs I ever got. Orange? No? Okay, alright. We are down to 24,000 gems. So we've used about half of our resources so far. We've gotten a Flora, and a Crown, and a Rapunzel. So, decent. But still have not seen our main target. 17,000 gems. Yo, are we gonna have to go all gold tickets for every single copy? That would be brutal. Change! No change. This is a rough way to start the new year, I'll tell you that. Or maybe we're like closing out the year. Technically, for me, it's not the new year yet, so, you know. we can still have better beginnings starting tomorrow. Change to orange. No. Okay. It's testing me. We have 3 more multis. Please, Rapi. Please. I even have your base form at maximum affection. Okay. Maybe that's what it took. Maybe I had to remind her that I was dedicated to her, that I cared about her, even before she got the glow up. It's Elysian. Oh, it's the overspec. This is Rapi. This has to be right. Yes. Okay. All right. Finally got there. Oh my god. That would have been so sad if I didn't even pull a single copy of her naturally. Oh, our girl looks so good. Sorry for blowing out your ears with the coughing. Okay, so that's kind of cool. So you see the Elysian manufacturer and then it changes to the overspec logo. I was wondering exactly how that would work. That's pretty cool. All right. I'll take it. We're still going to keep pulling. We got 2 more pulls. It might be greedy, but whatever. It doesn't matter. We're still going to pull for her. If we can pick up a second copy here, it's worth it. Or another random pilgrim, that's fine. We have lots of gold tickets for those limited units. Change? No? Okay, last pull. We're just short of being able to do another one after this. We have 2,400 gems after this. All right, let's end this. Copy number 2 of Rapi. Change? Ugh. Okay. It was a little greedy. It is what it is. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and spec our girl up, and then we are going to get into testing and talk about teams, damage results, gear, everything you need to know about Rapi on day 1. Okay, so I finished setting up my Rapi, and I just completed 28 tests to do damage tests to compare different comps and give you guys results on what is the best way to use Rapi. So before we get into that, I want to say one complaint that I have about Rapi. Why does Rapi not use Pierce? She carries the legacy of Red Hood, which is like the best Pierce unit we have, and then she literally says Pierce through on her burst. Anyway, nitpicks aside, let's go ahead and take a look at my Rapi just so you know what I was working with. I did not get to max her out on everything. So I do have her at max limit break. I cashed in those golden tickets. I also got all of her skills up to level 10, except for skill 1. I was just short and was only able to get that to level 9. And then I got 3 overloads on her equipment, wasn't able to get those boots, and I still need to level these up. And I got okay-ish lines. You can see I was lucky enough to actually get 3 lines on here. I even got a blue line of critical damage for whatever that's worth. And then on the chest, I got max ammo and again critical damage. And then here I actually got a line of elemental damage and some hit rate. So that's decent. And then I equipped her with a doll, of course, and got her affection all the way to 39. So there's definitely room to improve here, but beefed her up as much as I could. Also gave her a level 10 Bastion Cube, which is probably going to be the best thing to give to Rapi. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into the test. Oh, also one quick thing to note here, because there were questions about this. Rapi does function as a burst 1 with Red Hood. She does not read Red Hood as being another burst 1 in the comp. So if you use them together, Rapi is going to be that burst 1 if you don't have another burst 1 in the squad. All right, so now let's actually talk about the tests. So the first test that I did here was with Crown, Leader, Rapi, Asuka, and Modernia, and I was fighting against wind element units to give them all elemental advantage. So this is in theory one of the best fire teams that we can do. Leader and Crown are just generically OP against anything, and Rapi, Asuka, and Modernia, of course, are going to be some of the best fire damage that we can do. Now, at the end of the test, I ended up with 4.249 billion damage, with Rapi doing the second most damage, and Modernia doing the most damage. Now, Rapi is not that far behind here, and remember, Rapi still has a decent amount to improve, and my Modernia is stacked. She has, like, really optimal almost everything. And she's like core 3 for me and like maxed out doll and everything. So I would not be surprised to see Rapi exceed this. And Rapi is already exceeding Asuka, who I also have built up really, really strong with pretty optimized things here. Okay, now in test 2, I did Grave, Double D, Rapi, Asuka, and Modernia. So this is our pure fire team. Mono element teams are probably going to be more and more important, particularly with the change to union raids and the fact that you're going to make 3 teams and like a different one specifically for a different boss. So mono element teams are going to be even more important than in like a solo raid team, where you do want elemental advantage, but you generally have to spread out your units across 5 teams and you can't actually make a full team with one strong element. So anyway, we got Grave, Double D, Rapi, Asuka, and Modernia. So this is probably going to be your best one in solo raid, assuming you're fighting a wind boss. And here we did 4.209 billion damage, extremely similar to the last result, which is kind of interesting. And Rapi again did the second most damage, and Modernia did the most damage. Now in the third test, it was Crown, Leader, Rapi, Cinderella, and Modernia. Now, Cinderella is probably our most OP DPS we have in the game so far, so this is going to be interesting. This was a neutral fight because we have so many different kinds of DPS here. I didn't want one to have elemental damage, so I was fighting an electric enemy, and we did a total of 3.618 billion damage, and Rapi did the second most damage, with first being Cinderella. So this is probably to be expected here. Now again, Rapi does have some room to grow here, but I wouldn't expect this to really change that much in this kind of like really general situation where no one is really specializing in anything. By the way, I just want to say I didn't do 28 different teams, or rather all of these tests were done 4 times. So I changed the burst order of our main burst 3s. So that way we wouldn't get like one always bursting one more time than the other if the timing turned out that way. And I also wanted to do each test at least twice to make sure that we accounted for some variance. And then I took the highest score or average between those two, rather. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next test. So we just saw how Rapi stacked up against Cinderella in a general situation where no one had an advantage. Now we're going to see how Rapi stacks up against Black Shadow Scarlet in a neutral situation. And it was crazy. Now, Black Shadow Scarlet is known to be probably the second best DPS in the entire game. The thing is, she kind of relies on Alice to really put out big numbers. And so we can see here we did a total of 2.814 billion damage, all doing neutral damage against water enemies, but Rapi got first. She got the most damage, with Black Shadow Scarlet getting the second most damage. This was extremely impressive, and again, Rapi still has room to improve here. All right, our next test is against electric enemies, so we're going to do an iron-based team to see what we can do, because remember, Rapi does do strong elemental damage to electric units as well. So I'm running Crown, Leader, Rapi, Red Hood, and Bunny Soda, and we did a total of 3.011 billion damage, and Rapi did get the most damage of all of them, outscoring Red Hood by quite a bit, and Red Hood, of course, got the second most damage. This was, again, really, really impressive because Rapi has not reached her ceiling yet. Again, I have a maxed out Red Hood that has cores and has a completed doll on her, and Rapi is still running with a basic doll and can get more stats on her gear. So, extremely impressive for Rapi. I can definitely tell she is the future. Okay, so all of these tests were with Rapi as a burst 3 because we wanted to see what her DPS potential was. But is that actually the best way of using Rapi? Remember, she can be a burst 1 as well. So let's check and see what our overall damage is like on a squad. Even if Rapi can put up a ton of damage on her own as a burst 3, maybe we can get better value with her being as a burst 1 for the total team, or maybe not. So the first test here was with Rapi, Crown, Red Hood, Bunny Soda, and Maxwell. So we fought electric enemies. We're going to have all elemental advantage here. So this is basically burst 1 version of the last team that we just ran. So remember, the last team, which was Crown, Leader, Rapi, Red Hood, and Bunny Soda against electric units, did 3.011 billion. This time we did 3.214 billion damage. So this is really interesting. Now, this isn't a huge difference, but we actually did more damage with Rapi being a burst 1. This is somewhat unexpected, I would say, but don't underestimate just how good of a support Rapi is and how strong that cooldown reduction with Rapi is. Now, we are using Maxwell here because, she's probably the next best iron support to put in here if we're trying to make a pure iron team. So she is kind of buffing up Red Hood. Maxwell herself is doing very, very low damage in this situation, though. And, bursting with Red Hood and Bunny Soda here resulted in more damage than bursting with Red Hood and Bunny Soda. So really interesting here. I mean, at least in this test, it's showing that Rapi is actually going to make your whole team do more damage as a burst 1 rather than a burst 3. Now, a caveat here is that, again, Rapi does have room to grow here. So because these results are so close, it's possible that this result could get reversed because Rapi is going to get more value out of having more stats as a burst 3 than as a burst 1. So just keep that in mind. But at least here, she was actually better as a burst 1. Okay, final round of test. I want to do the same kind of idea. So we're doing our all fire team here, but we're using Rapi as a burst 1 instead of as a burst 3. So instead of using double D like we did in the last all fire squad versus wind units, this time we're using Rapi, Grave, Asuka, Ray, and Modernia. So this should be a pretty OP fire team here, but we'll see how the damage actually changes against all wind units. So as a reminder, on the previous all fire team against wind enemies, we did 4.209 billion damage. With Rapi dealing the second most damage and Modernia dealing the most damage. So the results here are staggering. What? So here with Rapi being a burst 1, we did an insane 5.412 billion damage. This is the most damage we've done all day. This is the biggest score of the entire testing session. And Modernia is doing the most damage. Not too surprising here, with Asuka dealing the second most damage. And this is showing that Rapi is far better in this situation as a burst 1 than as a burst 3. Now, this is kind of interesting. Because the damage difference here is so much more, I think even if my Rapi was completely maxed out, that would not make her catch up. So in this situation, Rapi as a burst 1, for this specific squad anyway, is pretty definitively better as a burst 1. Again, that cooldown reduction is pretty nuts. Now, Double D also has really, really strong cooldown reduction. But what could be the difference here? I mean, Double D, isn't necessarily doing a ton on that all fire team. She's actually going to be a better buffer for someone like Rapi. We got Grave in both situations, buffing up Asuka for pierce damage. So, I mean, that's the same, but Rapi, as a burst 1, is hitting super hard. I mean, the other notable difference here is that Ray is bursting rather than Rapi bursting. But, I don't think that Ray has a stronger burst than Rapi. And then, of course, Modernia in neither situation was bursting. But anyway, these are the numbers. Rapi, Grave, Asuka, Ray, Modernia is your highest all-fire DPS and the most damage that I could do in the whole day here. And Rapi was a burst 1. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed the video. This was really fun to make and really kind of interesting and some unexpected results. So I want to just end with a couple things for you guys to keep in mind. So when making a real raid team, remember how important quick charging is. And as a burst 1, you may not even be able to leverage her insane cooldown reduction if you're not quick charging. So just keep that in mind. Also, Rapi will probably last basically forever since she can be either a burst 1 or a burst 3. So she is kind of an OP DPS up there in the top 3 from what we can see here. But she's probably going to be relevant until basically the end of the game if they do some just like insane, overpowered thing that's just like, outnumbering everything, which will probably happen eventually down the line, but that might be like 5 years from now, who knows. Because she can be that burst 3 or shift to being a burst 1 support, and she's strong against 2 different elements, you can feel safe investing in her and make sure that you're getting excellent value out of her for years to come. Alright, what else can I say about her? Oh, gear. Let's talk about gear. So I think the best stat to roll on her gear is going to be elemental damage. You're going to get double value out of that compared to most other units because she's going to hit both as an iron and a fire type unit. So I mean, you're not doing double damage, but you know what I mean. Like you're going to get the elemental damage against two different kind of things, and it's going to be one of the best stats for DPS anyway. Also, attack is probably the second best thing that you want because she does have a lot of moves that scale off of her attack value, so that's still going to be really important. And then max ammo is also going to be really, really important, especially combined with the Bastion cube, so she can just keep firing. This is like a thing that's universally good with pretty much any MG user. Now for skills, just level everything. You know, she's one of the best, if not the best unit in the game right now, and so just don't spare any resource, max her out, get everything to 10. That said, if you just, you know, don't know what to level up right now, you know, I would say skill 2 is probably the priority. I mean, like I chose to get it to level 10 and left level 1, I mean skill 1 at level 9, so, you know, of course I'm gonna max it out. But, you know, I would slightly value skill 2 just because you're gonna get, you know, good value out of that no matter what role you have Rapi in. Also, do you need more than one copy? I mean, I went for max limit break. Again, I feel like she's worth it, but you know, the reality is if you don't have that many resources, one copy is going to be fine. She is a really low rate unit, so again, you might want to consider using those gold tickets. We also have the rerun banner of Black Shadow Scarlet if you don't already have her built. And then we're getting the Ava Part 2 collab coming, and then at some point Stellar Blade collab coming, and you know, numerous things in between. So just things to keep about when you're you know, managing your resources. You're probably going to be fine. She's going to be still extremely good as one copy, but if you want to completely maximize her, she does have those skills that scale off of her stat values, so getting dupes will help. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend actually going for that for the average player. What else? Oh, vote in the community, power level vote, okay? So we are almost to the very end. Today is the last day. We are going to be doing a vote for the best unit overall. You can go to the post tab or community tab, whatever it's called, on my channel. Vote in anything you haven't already voted for before the final tally, and then I'm going to be doing a video starting next year in the first week talking about what the best units are of every category. So make sure you go check that out and go vote. It's been really fascinating to see what you guys think are the best units in the game. All right, thanks for watching. This was a long one. Happy New Year, guys, and I will catch you guys in the next video or stream. I stream on YouTube and Twitch on the 2nd, which will be my first stream of the year. All right, peace and Happy New Year.